This time we're going to get a little bit more Vim specific and talk about how you can start using it. So I don't need this anymore. Oh, I forgot to mention that. That's a nice one. Uh, Control L. That just clears your current screen. So let's say that I've got a bunch of noise all over my terminal screen. You can always type clear and it'll do that for you. But you can also just use Control L, which if you've remapped caps lock to control, that's just you barely have to move your fingers to even do that. You really only have to move your pinky. Okay, so now let's move on to learning Vim. Learning Vim. Let's just take a progressive approach. I'm going to show you the steps I took towards learning to use it, and why, not why, if just some simple stuff you can do to get started. The easiest, the official tutorial is actually already installed on your computer. It's under Vim Tutor. You can just hit Vim Tutor. There you go. You have a full tutor, and this is awesome. I don't know how long it's been included with Vim. It's really nice. So you just read through this. It'll show you like all the movement commands, H, J, K, and L. Uh, yeah, it's awesome. So just read through that. That'll teach you all the basics. As for implementing it into your workflow, I'm going to assume that you use Atom. So if you just open Atom, actually, let me show you a nice trick using Atom on the command line. This may or may not work. I think if you have ZSH installed, it'll pull it in. I'm not quite sure why it doesn't work sometimes. But Atom has a command line tool that's really nice. So if I want to edit one file, I can just do Atom. Let's open that file I was looking at a second ago. And it will open Atom for you. If you don't have a window open already, it'll make a new one. So that's pretty nice. If you already have Atom open and you want to open a file somewhere, you can do Atom -A for add, a dot flag, and then I don't know, cats.js. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let me get rid of that. Anyway, so okay, so ignore some of the tweaks I have in here for my Atom installation. I'm just going to assume you don't have anything installed, maybe just like a couple packages. You would go to Settings, go to Install, and search for Vim Mode Plus. And hit Enter. And then install this one. You don't need this anymore. Just get this one for now. It's okay. And once you have that installed, you will have pretty much all of the fundamental movement commands at your fingertips. You'll be able to go down with J, up with K, right with left, or I'm sorry, right with L, left with H. Yeah, that's really it to get started as far as having the commands at your fingertips. You don't have to if you like delete something on accident, you're like, oh shoot, how do I get that back? And you haven't learned the undo key yet. You can still use Command Z or Edit Undo. You could still fall back on the arrow keys while you're still learning H, J, K, and L. yeah, I mean, that's all you got to do. You just install this and start using it. Um, Now, as far as like which keys to learn first, the best way is to do the Vim tutor and learn basic movement. Basic movement, and then also insertion, which is just I. So, uh, like starting out with Vim, and that would be learn basic movement and basic insertion. So that would be like obviously H, J, K, and L. I also really like Command D and Command U. Those will like scroll up and down pretty quickly, so you don't have to just hit J a million times or K a million times. See, it'll move like I think it moves half a page or something like that. I can't completely remember, but it's a good way to just gloss over a file really quickly. Basic movement. Those are really it, I think. Oh, well, maybe this is jumping ahead a little bit, but GG and G, yeah, those are worth adding. So GG or capital G, so Shift G, for top of the file and bottom of the file. That's really nice if you ever, for some reason, you open a file and maybe it's like a system configuration. It's massive. It's like 1,000 lines long. You can easily just shift between the top of the file and the bottom of the file very easily. It's also really useful if you're reading manual pages. You can go to the bottom of a file with these same keystrokes. And you can also do Command D to go down, Command U to go up, J and K and stuff to go down by lines. So that's pretty awesome, I think. And that'll work on Mac OS or Linux, anywhere you're reading man pages pretty much, as far as I know. Okay, so those are basic movements. Basic insertion, there's really not much to it. It's just I, okay? So that's, I guess, the thing that takes the most getting used to with Vim is that it's not like a normal text editor where you just have the bar moving around, the cursor moving around, and you're just, adding stuff. Vim has visual mode, which is what we're in right now, moving around. It's like movement mode basically, and an insert mode. And with with a normal Vim installation, you'll see it indicated down here: insert, normal, and there's a couple other modes, but you don't need to worry about them right now. Okay. Basic insertion. I would add capital I, which inserts at the beginning of a line, and then that would lead us to A, which is at the end of a line. Okay, so I, A, right? And then it's like, okay, well, what does lowercase a do? Well, it inserts after a letter. So wherever your cursor is, A for after, I for before. That's a little awkward to get used to at first. So just remember I and capital A. Those will help you out a lot. Let's see. I guess we didn't. That reminds me, we didn't talk about like horizontal movement. We got pretty good with vertical movement, but we didn't talk about horizontal movement. Let's see. So let me just say that these are vertical and these are horizontal. I only really use 3. No, I use more than that, to be honest. So you want to know 0 for the very, very beginning of a line and $sign for the end of a line. I know those are kind of weird. I don't really know why they are that way, but they just are, and it's fine with me. So those are for beginning, end of line. And then there's also kind of in between that would be what is this thing called? Underscore. Okay, so whereas 0 goes to the very, very beginning of the line, underscore goes to where the line starts, which is pretty nice. So if you're like, you can go to the beginning of the line, but you don't have to tab over a little bit to get to the actual, like where the text starts. So like I guess beginning of line text. Okay? And then last but not least is W and E. Okay? So those are backwards or forwards movement by word. Okay? So B, sorry, not, what am I thinking of here? Let's see here. Oh yeah, okay. Scratch that. B. W actually goes forward by, moves your cursor to the beginning of the next word, whereas E moves your cursor to the end of the current word. Sorry about that. But like, I don't want to really mince word. I don't really want to, nitpick the specifics. Just B and E will get you pretty far. You can get plenty done by doing that. There's also capital B, and those refer to capital word. And so capital word would be like if you had a URL in your code somewhere, you can go through all the individual parts of it like this, or you can go across the entire word. So a word cap, like with all caps, is like a kind of a body of text with no spaces in it, So that's pretty nice. But I wouldn't worry about that too much. These will get you pretty far. So we can just do that and like that. Yeah. I mean, these are really it. The last thing I guess we'll talk about today is cutting, like deleting stuff and pasting. Of course, you can always delete stuff just by going into insert mode and start backspacing, but there are better ways to do it. So we'll learn about those in the next video before we leave off.